Well, here we go. Tuesday it is. It's time for my favourite political panel. Joining me from Melbourne is the former Victorian Liberal Party President, Michael Kroger, a Melbourne supporter, and former Labor Minister Stephen Conroy, a Collingwood supporter. We will get to the Braden Maynard, Angus Brayshaw thing in a moment. Don't worry about that. I've asked the studio to give me enough time for that. But let's talk politics first, guys. Thanks for your company. What about this, Stephen Conroy? This is open government with your Labor guys. This is the notice to produce advice to Jim Chalmers on the Qatar Airways saga. Transparency, you promised. What's the story, Stephen Conroy?
Well, look, I obviously haven't seen that document, and I'm not sure what sort of document it is. Normally, you don't release advice to government. Well, normally you don't release advice to government. That's like a time-honoured tradition of the Westminster system. So ministers will have a look at it and form a view about what's relevant. Of
the Westminster system.
Time-honoured tradition.
Michael, let's move on. Michael Kroger, what do you think of that? What do you think of the whole handling of this Qatar Airways thing?
Well, disastrous. I mean, why isn't it possible to give a simple explanation? And of course, there probably is one. We don't know which one of the seven or a combination thereof it is. But the more mess Labor gets into over this, more people think there's something suspicious about it all. When a simple explanation would get this off the front pages, would save Labor a lot of political damage. The inability of the minister to give a very clear answer is making this worse for Labor. And, as they say, sometimes it's not the crime, it's the cover-up that is your problem, and that's what's happening here. So it's an issue that has not been well handled.
Yeah, Stephen Conroy, you're a former Victorian colleague of Catherine King. Is she a weak link in this cabinet?
Look, I think obviously the furor around the decision and the string of differing explanations from a range of, Catherine and her colleagues. Is she a weak link? Absolutely not. I mean, she's made the decision, she argues, on the basis of national interest. It's around the issue of the Qatari airport police or security guards, and there's always some grey area about where that starts and finishes, given it's a government-owned airline. I can absolutely understand why Michael and the opposition want to make hay with this. The governments have been untidy in trying to get the message out on this, but as to whether or not this has got any significant bearing on Catherine's performance, no.